Hi everybody, once again you are welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to be teaching you on how to analyze data with Python. You can see analyzing data with Python part 1, and we're going to have it up to part 3 of 4. This is a project, a really project, and the project is about about autos, and you can see we're going to be analyzing about a car part, and this might take us some weeks to achieve of the project. If you're the type that you are really interested in using Python to analyze data and you are a beginner, this video is actually for you. And if you are an advanced user of Python also and you would like to embark on a project, we can actually take this right together. You can see this is what I've done so far, and we'll be continuing step by step, and I'm going to be teaching you on how to go about it, how to import your data, how to clean your data, what you need to do step after step. This project is a beginner friendly and also is an advanced friendly as well. It's an end-to-end project, and you will learn a lot from this tutorial. Either you have been using Python or you are new to using Python, this tutorial you will really learn a lot from it. And this is what we are using. We are using Jupyter and Notebook. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open a new worksheet, and from there we are going to start everything afresh. And please, if you find this video interesting, if you find this video useful, please subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn anything about Power BI, probably you are new to this channel, I will want to learn anything about Power BI, building a astonishing beginner friendly to advanced Power BI dashboard, you will find it in this channel. And you want to learn anything about Microsoft Excel, building a dashboard in Microsoft Excel, you will also find this in this channel as well. SQL, we are working on that also, you will find this in this channel as well. And you want to learn about machine learning and Python, we do this also in this channel, and you will actually learn a lot. I promise you will learn a lot. So we go to an empty sheet of Jupyter Notebook. We are using a Jupyter Notebook, and if you are new to Jupyter Notebook is very easy to use. It's a user friendly, and you will enjoy using it. And if you want me to make a video on how to probably download on how to use Jupyter Notebook, you can actually let me know. So you can see the first thing we are going to do is we are going to be importing our data. But before we import our data, and I'm going to make it the importing libraries. So we are going to start from importing our libraries. And these are what we are going to use. First of all, because without the libraries you can't. There's no how you can import your data. And the first library we are going to be using is Panda. And how do we import Panda? You import Panda as import pandas. As what? You have to put S at the back. Pandas as a short form of PD. That is the first thing we are going to do. We are going to import Panda. We are going to be using many libraries, but I don't just want to import everything at once. I'm going to be taking it step by step. Where we need it, I'm going to upload it, and I'm going to import it. Anywhere we need another libraries, I'm going to import that library. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import pandas as PD, which I've already done. Then I will come up here to run. You can see I can actually run from here, and I can as well Shift Enter on my keyboard. Shift Enter on my keyboard will run it for me. As you can see, we are not having any error. It shows already that our library is already imported. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import the library. Then I'm going to put it as hash. That's for people to know that this is the next step I'm taking. So I'm going to put it as import datasets, importing datasets. So you can see we are importing our dataset. Already we've imported our library, so the next thing we are importing our dataset. There are several ways to import our dataset, but in this case we are using a link. We are using a URL to import our data. So how we're going to do it, I'm going to make it URL and I'm going to make it equal to. What I'm going to do, because it is long, so I'm going to copy the URL that we are going to use. So I'm going to copy it out and I'm going to paste it here. You can as well copy it and also paste it to also just to follow along. Then probably you use something else apart from Jupyter Notebook. You can as well follow along with the same data. Either you use Jupyter Notebook, either you use Google Colab, either you use any other IDE to run your Python. The same steps that you are going to use. We are still going to import libraries. We are still going to import the dataset. So we are having our dataset as in URL form, and that is the first thing I did. Then I'm going to enter. Then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in a data frame. So I'm going to make it df equal to pd, because I'm going to read it out, equal to pd.read. pd.read, correct, I've made pd.read CSV, because we have it in a CSV format. Then that is the first thing, CSV df, which is our data frame. And as well, I can just name this anything. I decided to name it a data frame. You can name it a data, you can name it a set, you can name it a name of anything you want. So we are saying our data frame is called pd.read CSV. Then we want to read this URL. So we want to make it URL, comma. Then we are going to make it header, because already our dataset does not have header. So we are going to make it header equal to none. Header equal to none, because we don't really have header. When I import it, you will see. So we have this, I will come up here to run. So I will be using both Shift Enter on my keyboard, and also I'll be using this so for you to see. So what am I going to do? I'm going to run, not run a cell, run a selected cell. Or then we have a selected cell, which is this. You can see everything works. When you check it here, there is no error. So the next thing is I'm going to check. We've already read it, we've import our library. And this next thing is import our URL, which is our data. We've import our data. This is our data. The URL is our data. Then the next thing is I read it. df is equal to pd.read CSV URL. If the data set has header, I don't need this. I will actually just remove this out of it. But because it doesn't have header, that's why I make it header is equal to none. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to check the 5 column or row. So I'm going to make it df.head, which is going to give me the first 5 rows of my data. df.head, and I'm going to make it either, I can make it 5 or I can just make it df.head. Then I'm going to read it. You can see our data has no head. You can see there is no header. That is why I make it header equal to none. If I didn't specify this, Python might just make any of this as any of the headers, and which is wrong. So we don't have an headers on it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put another something here, which I'm going to use to rerun it again, because already we have shown the headers, the head. Then also I would like to also show the tail as well. So let me see. New console for notebook, edit, because already I copy from here to here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a cell below. And look at it. This is create a duplicate. We don't need a duplicate. This is move up and down. Then I'm going to insert a cell above. No, I want to insert a cell below. So this is the cell I want to insert below. Then I'm going to make it df.tail. I want to see the last 5 column. Here gives me the first 5 column, and here will give me the last 5 columns. So df.tail, you can see. So we have the last 5 rows and columns. So we have 5 rows and 26 columns. So, and here we have also 5 rows and 26 columns. This is the first 5 at the top, and this is the last 5 at the bottom. So the next thing we are going to do is, already we've shown the head and also we've shown the tail. So the next thing is we are going to do is we are going to replace. You can see when you come down here, replace the default headers by df.column is equal to headers, because this does not have headers and we have to replace it with all this. I deliberately don't remove this so that we'll be able to copy it, because writing this one after the other will really take a lot of time. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to, you can see it, replace the default headers by df.column is equal to headers. So we create header list. So we are going to replace all the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 25. We are going to replace them with this header. What does that mean? That means the symboling we make 0. The 0 will be equal to symboling. Then 1 is equal to normalized losses, and then 2 we make it to be make. Then 3 will be fuel type. Then 4 will be aspiration. Then 5 will be number of doors. So that is what it means. Everything here we're going to replace it with the numbers we have at the top. So I'm going to shift enter on my keyboard. Already it means it's wrong. Since if we couldn't find any errors there, it means it's wrong. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the first 5 errors again. Then I will come down here, come up here, and I will copy. Instead of me rewriting it again as df.head, I will just put it here. Then shift enter on my keyboard. So you can see here we shouldn't have this again. We shouldn't have this again. So this is not I'm sorry, I have to put df.column. So remember I said by df.column is equal to header. So we are going to copy this because we are going to use it. It's equal to headers. Otherwise, we will not be able to specify what we mean. What does this mean? Already we make this is our headers. We have already make our headers is equal to all this. So that is already specified. Then the next thing is we are making the column is equal to headers. Where are the column? These are the column here. So we are saying, look, our data frame dot column is equal to this. So all this here will be equal to this. All this here, everything here will be equal to this. So that is where we have to certify that df.column is equal to this. That means this column that we're having here equal to what we're having. So we are going to enter, and let's see, we have everything right. So since it doesn't show us any problem, so we believe that everything is actually right. So the next thing we are going to do is we check the first 5 head, and let me make it df.head, and I'm going to make it this way. And so something is actually not working. pandas.pida.com.org blah 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 blah. Please, Panda doesn't allow column to be created via a new attribution name. df.column is equal to headers. So that is not true. So we have this. So let me make it. I think we have to df.columns. I think there is a X. It should be columns, not just one column. So let me rerun. So You can see it has gone. So X should be at the back of the column. Then I'm going to run this. So you can see we have it correctly done. So what is that? So we've already made this headers here. We've already make it the column. So we'll make our df.column is equal to headers. So we are having a new headers now. So the next thing is we are going to do is we can decide to save a copy of this. So how should we save a copy of this? We just have to make it df dot to CSV, then we name it as I wouldn't want to name it as the data because I've already saved it to be as a data. And if I'm going to use as a data, I'm going to use data set. Let me just make it as a data set. So already we are having it as a data set. Then I'm going to save it. What does that mean? Is I'm saving to underscore CSV. So what does that mean? Is I'm saving this that we are having. I'm saving it to a new, probably in a new worksheet, or rather not in a worksheet. I'm saving it in a new place entirely. In case if anything goes wrong with this one that I'm having, I can actually retrieve this. So that is what I'm actually doing. So I'm going to rerun it. And you can see data set CSV df dot to CSV data set df dot CSV data set. Name data set is not defined. Okay, since name data set is not defined, that is not a problem. We can just put a double. Just put it here and put it here, and let's run it again. So everything is better now. So we can as well just cut this one out so we can read this one out. Now I'm going to show you something here. Let me come back here and let me show you what I did up there. Then we're going to insert a cell, not a cell below. Let me make it a cell below. Then I will run up here. Then I'm going to come here. I'm going to copy this, but we are not going to use it. I just want to show you something here. So we want to import a data set now, and let's assume that this is our data set now, and I want to import a data set. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to make it df is equal to pd.read no. I'm just going to make this. I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to make it as dataset. Dataset dot CSV. I'm going to make it a dataset dot CSV. CSV. Then I'll put a double quote. Then I'm going to run, and let me see if everything works. Now, what is the problem that we are having in dataset.csv? What happened? No source file or directory dataset.csv. Okay, then I'm going to, because I didn't save this as to be CSV, so I'm going to make it as datasets. And let's see. You can see I have everything correctly because this is our dataset, and I can as well just show the first edge of this. Let me put something here. Let me put something here. Let me come back here and put something below. No. Let me bring this down. And let me just make it df dot head dot head. And let me see if we are going to have this or that. Just that I don't want it to show another one. But what I'm trying to tell you here is that we can as well save it in another format, in another name. Then we can use it instead of us using this. You understand? Then I won't make this df any longer. I can just make it, this is going to be a data dot to CSV. I'm going to name it like that, but I've already made it a df. Then I'm going to make it a data instead of using df, because already we are currently using a df. So that is just what I want to let you know. So we move this, we delete it, we don't need it. So the next thing is we don't need this as well. I'm just using as an example. So now we check the data type. we want to check the data type, because as you can see, you don't even know the type of the data type that we have. So to check the data type, we are going to use the df dot the type. That is what we are going to use to check our data type dot the types. That's all. You don't have to put any other thing else. So you see, we want to check the data type we have. You can see we have symboling, which is integer. Then we have normalized lost, which is object. Then we have our make, which is object as well. Full type is object. We have aspiration is object. Then we have number of doors object. We have body style object. So these are the data type we have. In Python, we have about 3 or 4 data type. We have object, we have int, we have float, and we have the other one. So we've already checked the data type, so we know that the data type we have is here. And there's something that is actually wrong here, because we have to check some things. Now, make. What is the make? Should it be object? Then we will let us know as we move forward. Body type, should it be object or should it be int? So we check all these things. Which of them should not be object that is carrying object? Then we are going to change them to the right data type. So the next thing is we are going to return a statistical column. Now, a statistical column will show us what we mean by mean, median, standard deviation, maximum, minimum. These are what the statistical something is going to show. So to do that, we are going to make it a df dot describe. So it will describe the data for us in full. So we have df dot describe. And don't forget, if we are using df dot describe, it's just going to show us the numbers. It won't show us the object. And who are the numbers? And what are the numbers? The int, the float. These are the numbers. Int, float. These are the number that is going to show. So let's run it and see. So you can see. So we are having count. We are having mean. We are having standard deviation. These are something we call the corner size. So we are having the maximum also. This is a I will put it for you to be able to statistical. So we are trying to see the statistics of everything, especially the numbers, which is the int and the float. But for us to see everything, including the objects, either we want to see the statistical data of everything, statistical information of everything, either the int, either the object, either the float. The next thing we are going to do, we are going to use df describe is equal to all. So let me put it this way. So we have df dot describe. We have dot describe, and we make it all. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to get it. So it's got to. We don't have to put equal to yet. Include. Include will give us equal to. Includes all. That is what we are doing. Includes all. So we are having this here, and we are putting all. That means we are trying to tell Python, look, we want it to include all. But in this case, we just make it df.describe, and it will only pick the numbers. I mean, yeah, the one that they are numbers, like the int, that the float. It doesn't pick the object. But when we make it df.describe include equal to all, when we make it include equal to all we are trying to tell him is this. Look, and what I'm trying to tell it is this: include everything, the object, the int, the float. And let's run it, and we are going to see described. So I think there's some misspelling there. I can just copy from here, so that wouldn't be a problem. I can just copy this, then I move down here, then I put it here. That is it. Then we have it. I can run it now. Then if that should be the case, what am I missing? What am I missing? Describe. Data frame.describe got an unexpected key argument. Include. includes, then we don't have to put X there, so we don't need X, so it's just include. So we run. So in case you run and there is some error, just read it and it will show you what the errors are. So you can see, so we have everything included here, and there we have NA. Remember, here we don't have any NA because here we only pick the int and the float alone. Then by the time we include everything, which also include the objects, it shows us unclean data. Here we can see NaN, that means not a number, not a number, not a number. You can see we also have a question mark here. We also have not a number. These are the unclean data, and we have to clean all this data, otherwise our analysis will have error. So the next thing is we are going to check the data information. These are the steps that you have to take to see what you need to do to your data before you started analyzing your data. So we are going to make a df.info. df.info will give us the information about our data set. So let's have this way. .info, you can see. Now, the info gives us symboling. We have 205 non-null. You can see. So these are the information our data is giving us. So all the information you can see, we have 205 non-null, 205 non-null, 205 non-null, 205 non-null. So we would like to see exactly the not a number there. Where does it come from? Where is it also among this? We are showing this now, and we want to see which of them actually have an unwanted number. Let me put it this way, unwanted number. So we are going to, which of them does not have a number, like not a number. So we want to see, and like this also, we are going to make sure we clean everything and to make everything work clean. So the next thing is we are going to identify and undo a missing data. Now you can see we have not yet identified a missing and unclean data yet. So we have to identify them. Then when we identify them, then we have to clean them. Then the next thing we are going to do is we are going to import NumPy. Now this is where we need the NumPy. I could have, from the beginning, I could have import a NumPy alongside when I import these pandas. I can as well import a NumPy. But remember I said something. I said I will only import the libraries when I needed them or when I needed it. So I needed this first. That is why I import this. Then you can as well import all your data as once. But because I want to make it a step-by-step beginner friendly for everyone that are new to this or a beginner in using Python to analyze the data. So that is why I said I'm going to import the library when I need them. So now I'm going to import NumPy because I need the NumPy now. So I'm going to make it import NumPy. Import NumPy. Import NumPy as NP. That is the first thing I'm going to do. Then I'm going to shift enter on my keyboard, and you can see it runs. So the next thing is I will want to see before the first thing I'm going to do is I want to replace something here. And what am I going to replace? I want to replace this. I want to replace it with not a number. So I want everything to be not a number so that I will be able to clean everything the same way. So that's the first step I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this to not a number so we have it as not a number. So let's go. Then I'm going to come here, evaluating for missing number. So what am I going to do? Then I'm going to put it as, let me put it this way for you to understand. Replace. So I'm going to replace a question. Let me put it this way. I'm going to replace this. I'm going to replace this to NaN. So that is what I'm going to do. That's the first thing I'm going to do. And for me to do that, I'm going to have a df, and the df is going to dot replace. Remember, we are replacing, and it's going to be df dot replace. What am I replacing? I'm replacing, first of all, I have to use this. I'm replacing the question mark there, and I'm replacing it with not a number, with NaN. And for me to do that, I have to use np dot NaN, otherwise I won't be able to replace. That is the formula I'm going to use. So it means I'm replacing this with this. And what does that mean? I'm replacing this here with this. So, but you may ask, why can't I just put NaN straight? Now, we have the NaN in a small letter, and we have to use NP. That is the NumPy that we are using. So this is the NumPy that is going to do the job for us. So we are replacing this with this. Then the next thing, we are going to make it in place equal to true. That is the only thing we are going to do. Then we show the head. In place is equal to true. Then we make df dot head. Then we make it 5. And let's see if everything is correct. Now let's come back there. Let's go up. You can see we have, from the normalized loss, we have this, and let's go back. You can see we don't have it from the normalized loss any longer, so we've already changed it to not a number. So that is the first thing we are going to do. We've already replaced this, so everything is now not a number. Then the next thing we are going to do is we want to see the missing number. Everything we want to see how counting missing value in each column. We want to count it, so we want to know which of these are really a missing value. So what are we going to do? We are going to make it a missing data. Just name it a missing. You can name it anything, but I'm naming it a missing data. A missing data equal to data frame. That is our data frame. Dot is null. Is null. What does that mean? We are saying yes, is null. That is the formula. Missing data is equal to df dot is null. Then if it is null, truly we will see. Then the next thing we are going to do, we are going to copy this out, which is our missing, which is the name we give. Then we are going to have our missing data dot head. Then we are going to enter shift. You can see now those one that say false, that means there is no missing data. But those one that say true, it means there is missing data. Let's come back here. You can see not a number, not a number, not a number. That means true, true, true. That is what it means. We just want it to be, just give us those one that truly is null, the one that is not a number. And he said this is true, 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 true. You can see this has a number 164, 165, and he said it's false. That means it's not a null. Or this one is not a null, or this one is not a null, or this one is not a null. Everyone that says false, that means is not in, that means they have a number. But the one that says true, that means truly they are not a number. Already we've done that. So the next thing we are going to do, we want to check it in a total number. You understand? And to me, we should first of all do that. Before we do that, the next thing we are going to see, we want to check the number of null. Exactly the number of null, because already we've already counted. Then now we want to check which of them actually the number of null. Then what are we going to do? Doing that, I'm going to bring this down a bit, and I'm going to use a formula. I'm going to use a formula which I'm going to use a function, and I'm going to make it for column, which is for column in missing data. Remember, we have our missing data here. So this is our missing data for column in missing data. Then what are we going to do? missing data dot columns. Missing data dot columns. So for column in missing data dot columns, not comma, dot columns. Then what are we going to do? We are going to say dot column dot values. The values, and then we are going to make it to be a list, 2.to list. Now, let me explain something to you. We have our name here, which is a missing data. Now, we are now saying a missing data dot column. We want to see in a column a missing data dot column dot values, and we are making that values a list. That's why we're saying to list. Then the next thing is we come down here. Then we are going to print the column. Print column. Here we don't have. Then we print the column. Then the next thing is we also print. Already we print the column. We also want to print the missing data. Already, you understand? Now, already we are saying missing data dot column, so we are printing this column. Then we also want to print the missing data. So we're having print the missing data as well. Print the missing data. Print the missing data. Then now we want the column. Also, we want it in a column. So print the missing data dot column. Then we want to have dot value. Remember, we also have it there like dot value here. So that is what we are doing, dot value. And here we are having it value count, because we want to count everything out, dot value count. So then we close it back because we already open one here. So we've already opened one here, so we have to close it back. Do you understand what I did here? So now, for column in a missing data, this is our missing data now. For every column in this missing data, the missing data dot column, then dot value, then we are making it to be a list. Now, we are printing the column. Now we are printing the missing data. Now, then we are making it a value count. Then the next thing we are going to do is we are printing. Do you know what this means? We are just saying, because we don't want everything to be cumbersome, so we are making this. Then let me run, then you are going to see. You can see we are having inch in a column and in a list. So let's say unnamed. So this is what we have. There is no name on this, so we don't have to bother ourselves about it. Let me scroll down here. The first thing is we are having the count, we are having symboling. Symboling is telling us false. You understand? That means we don't have any, not a number. Now, when you come to normalize losses, for the normalized losses, we have false. That means 164 has a number, which is, that's why it gave us false. Then true, 41 of them, they are what? They contains not a number. So let's draw up here. That is what you will see. Actually, when we did some things here, I did some things here and I said, okay, I'm going to show you again. I think let me just try to, I did some things and I wanted to let us know. Okay, here you can see we have 205, not a null. So, and here we have the total number, that is 205. So for this, 205 is correct. For this, 205 is correct. But in case of this, when you add this together, I think we should have 205. So out of the 205, 164 of them is clean. Then 41 of them contains not a number. So that is what it means. So you can see we have normalized losses, 41 missing data, number of doors, 2 missing data, But for missing data, this is what it contains. When you scroll it down, you can see number of doors 2. Then we can see when we scroll down again, we want to see the one that contains true. You can see this one is all false. True stroke, we have 4. So we should see stroke here. We have 4 missing numbers. So that is what we actually did there for it to show us. But now we want to make it in a better way. In a better way that we want to do. Now, what are we going to actually do? We want to probably, let me put it this way. I would like to show in another form for us to see. Let me come down here. And let me make it. Let me just put insert a cell below. And insert a cell below, I want to see it in a way that it will be more clearer. So df dot is null. I just want to see the exact dot is null dot sum. Give me the sum of those data that are null. That is what I'm doing here. So you can see. It means the formula for us to get a null number, which is not a number, and a is null. Now, then I'm not saying I need the sum of it. So you can see we have a normalized losses, which is 41, like the one we have here. Then every other one, we have number of doors, we have 2. Then every other one we stroke down, we have stroke, which is 4. Then we have ball, which is 4. Stroke, which is 4. Then we have peak, RPM, which is 2. Then we have price, which is 4. You can see you can as well either use this, or you can as well either use this. So if you feel like this is somehow too complex for you, then you can just use df dot is null dot sum. It will give you the sum of the null number. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to calculate the mean value of the normalized losses column. So that is what we are going to do. And for me to do that, I'm going to have an average. I will calculate one, then I will copy the rest. You know what we want to do? We want to use the mean of this one. We don't want to just delete the missing number. This that is unclean like this, we don't want to delete them. We want to use them as well. So what are we going to do? We want to use the average. So that is what we are going to have as average, which is average number 1, the average normalized lost. Average normalized lost, because that is the first one we have. Average normalized lost. So is going to give us we're going to make it a data frame. That's the first thing we are going to do. We are giving it a name. Then we want this normalized lost. We are having this normalized. Let me pick it from here. We're having this normalized lost, and we are putting it here because we want the average of this normalized loss. That's why we make it average norm loss. So average normalized loss, then we are having it as this, which is truly our average normalized loss. Then the next thing we are going to make it as type dot. What type do we want to make it? Remember, it's not let's go and check the type of the data type. First of all, let's check the data type first. Normalized loss, you can see is object, and we want to make it int. So we come back here as type. As type is, we want to make it a float. So because when we divide it, it's going to make a float. So we're going to make it a float. Then we are going to cover it back. That is the first thing we're going to make. Then we want to calculate the mean. Dot mean. So because that is what we want to make. So we are making dot mean. Then we are making it as 6 equal 0. We've done everything. We are making use of everything. So we have as 6 equal to 0. So you can see what we did here. We have it as, this is the average. We need the average of this. Then we want the average of this to be, the data type is we want it to be a float. Then we need the average now. That is what we're actually doing here. So the next thing is I'm going to do is, and I'm going to print the average. Now out, I'm going to print. and I'm going to make it average, which is average of normalized loss. Let me put average of normalized loss. Remember, we have it this way, average of normalized loss. Then I'm going to put it in the quote again. Then I'm going to put a comma at the back. Then I'll bring this out here, because that is exactly what we are doing. So average normalized loss, we have it here. So what we're trying to do is we want to bring the average of this normalized loss. Remember, this is the normalized loss, and we're making it average of normalized loss, and this is the average of the normalized loss. So then the next thing is we closed. Then we control enter. So you can see average. What we did here was we just gave it a name. We don't want to use this, so we gave it a name, average of normalized loss, which is this. That is what we did, and we can see we have the average of normalized loss is equal to 122.80. That is what we are having. Then the next thing is we are going to now replace it. You can see replace the NA with a mean value in normalized loss. So we've already calculated the average of normalized loss. Then we want to replace this average with not a number in that the same normalized loss. So that is what we are doing as df. Then we are having this. Then we are going to have our normalized loss. I can just come here and I can just copy it from here, and I can just remove this, and I can just put everything here. You can see, instead of me retyping. So then I'm going to put dot replace. So I'm going to have replace what? I'm going to have the MP, remember the way we did that one, n dot a. Then because I want to replace this np dot na, I want to replace it with the average normalized loss. I hope we got it. So, and I'm going to make this. So we are going to put a comma here, and we are going to have this. This is our average normalized loss. Then I'm going to put it somewhere around here. Then I'm going to make it in place is true. In place equal to true. Then I'm going to close the parenthesis. Then I'm going to hit enter. So we've already replaced. So we calculated the not average of this normalized loss. We calculate the average. Then we replace the average with the NaN. So because we don't want to delete the NaN. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to calculate the mean value for the ball column. So that is the next thing we are going to do. So already we can just use the old formula that we have here. Then the next thing we just have to do is we just have to change some things from what we have there. So I can just copy this. I don't have to bother myself about retyping. Then I'm going to change the name. Then what is the name going to be? It's going to be average. It's going to be average ball. So we're going to have it as average ball. Then we are going to have, instead of us having normalized loss here, so we're going to have the average. We are just going to have the ball here. Then the next thing is we are also making as a float, mean as is equal to 0. So the same thing. So we are having this average of ball. That's the only thing we are having here. Then we are changing this to average of ball. We can just copy this and put it here. Already, so we have this to be this, and I think everything is actually fine by now. Then we can click enter. So you can see the ball, we have the average to be 3.32, something like that. So then we are also going to replace NA with the mean value in the ball. So already we've gotten the average, and we want to replace it with not a number in the ball. So the same thing we are going to do, we can just copy this one. Let's copy from here. and let's place it here. Then what are we going to do? We are going to just make this is poor. Then we are going to also replace it with average of poor. So we can just copy this and we are going to just put it here. That's the only thing we just have to change. Every other thing is the same. Then we are going to in place is equal to true. Then we've already replaced it. So let's go back. This is going to be the first stage, the first part of this analyzing data with Python part 1. Please, if you find this video interesting, if you find this video useful, please subscribe to this channel. You are going to be learning a lot from this channel, Data Analysts. Then the next step is going to be, we are going to start with the part 2 because it's going to be a very, very long project. Remember what I said, this is a car part. You can see this is a car part that we are going to be analyzing everything about the car part, and this is an old car because we are having 1985 or something like that car. So you can see, and we are using the machine learning data. So we are going to be learning a lot from this data. So already done with the part 1. Then the next thing is we are going to also continue with the part 2. So watch out for the part 2 of analyzing data with Python. Once again, thank you for taking this wonderful ride with me. My name remains Data Analytics. Please subscribe, share, comment, like, and click the bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a video and also when the part 2 is ready. Once again, thank you. See you once again. Bye.